switches actually to Haste Hunter, and you're being caught off guard.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But,
it's
okay,
Master here.
yeah, never mind. So he's playing the mid-range Hunter.
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. He's definitely more of a slower player as far as the deck choices that he makes.
So if he is not the type of player that brews his own decks, the only question here is like if he's playing Snake Trap at all or just Freezing Traps, and that's one of the like variations in the mid-range Hunter, because almost every single player that plays mid-range Hunter plays almost the same deck.
Yeah, it usually comes down to about 4 cards you can swap in and out depending on your own preferences.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he brings one Hunter's Mark to the deck. Very interesting.
Alright, so MasSan has the shielded mini-bot, and he has the muster for battle, and the anti-heal bot to stabilize in the mid-game.
And there's the Snake Trap from Sjow.
This could be a very important card here for him. Because if there's no Consecration to address it...
So this turn, I think you have to drop the Snake Trap and the Web Spare.
Mm-hmm. You risk even pinging the shield off, which is great.
Yeah, this is great. And even with the Snake Trap being just, casted on the hero, you have like 30% chance to actually kill the heal bot. Well, 25, right?
Yeah, about 25%. It's pretty low, but then again, you have to take your chances because it might just work out. And if an Unleash the Hounds is drawn here for Sjow, this could be crazy.
Okay, so I think MasSan didn't really know what kind of trap might it be. So he did go for the Masterful Battle, but this might be a very, very bad outcome for him.
Yeah, well, at least he can coin out the Sludge Belcher next turn, which might allow him to negate some of the problems that are going to occur. So he obviously trades the shielded mini-bot into the Juggler. There is no way you're not trading that away.
Yeah, definitely. But still, he just traded the Masterful Battle with one recruit for one knife. So I think that's a great outcome for Sjow here.
Yeah,
like,
well, yeah.
Also, the one knife to the Divine Shield was very crucial.
I don't know how much I like Huffer's ability to fight off a Sludge Belcher here. I don't think the odds are in his favor, really. But at least, Ironfur Grizzly and Mad Scientist can be dropped. It's still... Oh, wow, okay.
Freezing Trap. So you just play Freezing Trap, Hero Power, pass the turn, or you play the Grizzly and Freezing Trap. Because the problem with this matchup is the fact that you'll have to deal the damage anyway. So at turn 6, you'll play Savannah High Main, most likely, right? And then you have no game plan afterwards. So you have to rely basically on what will you draw. So when you think about this matchup, Sjow doesn't even know that there's an anti-heal bot in his opponent's hand. So I think Sjow has to go the aggressive route anyway, but then he will be caught by that anti-heal bot.
By that heal bot, yeah.
Yeah, but in the worst possible moment. And by not playing the Freezing Trap, I think he just kinda...
He's 2 for 1ing himself because the Sludge will get the Grizzly and then the Scientist will finish off the Sludge. But then if the Slime is dealt with in any way, it manages to live in any way, that's going to be problematic because it will eat the Freezing Trap.
I don't really like this play. Like, I would rather see the Freezing Trap being casted.
Well, it's ultimately going to come down. It's just a matter of when. And now if you look at this, if a Freezing Trap pops out of the...
okay, never mind.
That is not bad.
Okay, so he just knew that he would draw into an owl, and that's why he didn't cast the Freezing Trap.
It makes sense now that I think of it. It's RNG Stone. There's somebody twisting Nether MasSan's background, by the way. I don't see anything behind him. Is he like in the middle of the void?
Yeah, but he's not playing a Warlock.
Okay. Anyway, so we have a really weird board state because you want to play high main on 6, but you can't play high main on 6. What do you do?
When you play high main on 6 in this situation, you just trade away with the board, and that's not something you want to do as a hunter. Yeah. Especially when you really not rely on card draw in this type of deck. You have to draw the Cult Master and then Unleash the Hounds. So you kind of have a old style Unleash the Hounds or Unleash the Hounds Buzzard combo.
To draw like 3 cards out of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it must be a little awkward to not play the high main on 6, but I mean, if you sacrifice a Mad Scientist here, I mean, you could Hunter's Mark the Belcher and attack it with your 1/2. I really like that because then you can kill a slime with your 2/2 and make sure that it doesn't eat the freezing trap.
Yeah, but this is just so bad for Sjow. Like not playing the freezing trap last turn is just biting him back right now.
Yeah, the play you highlighted made I think a bit more sense as far as potential to snowball out of control.
Yeah, yeah. When you think about the freezing trap is a tool that achieves the tempo swing in the matchup, and when you can guarantee yourself a really good tempo swing, then you will snowball, as you said. So if Sjow would play that freezing trap on turn 5 with his counter, then he would actually guarantee himself a really good freezing trap value, and now he denied himself that. So further we go into the state of the game, the less value of freezing trap we'll actually see.
Yeah, because the more 1/1s end up spawning on the paladin side of the board, and the easier it is for him to play around it.
Exactly.
All right, so we see a. Oh, I like this line of play from MasSan, just not even triggering the trap if since he feels it's unnecessary, and then he might get himself a kill on the high main. With
he's not playing around a explosive trap.
Oh, that would have hurt. That would have really hurt.
But you know, you most likely have the exact knowledge of the opposing player's deck, so it was kind of a risky play if Sjow would like tweak his deck somehow, like with an misdirection or explosive trap or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would have been pretty funny though. It's not something I expect very often.
And now when you will see Sjow hand, he has no cards to play. Like,
yeah, he has to play into Consecration so hard now.
Yeah.
But at least there's none of it in MasSan's hand, which might allow Sjow to get himself back in this game in a pretty steady way. So he's gonna take away those beasts. You can't let them do anything. But the longer this lasts, the better the Paladin's chance of winning is, because you know that anti-kill bot and that lay on hands are ready to be cast at a moment's notice. In fact, the first one goes down. Wow, 24 health on turn 7 as a Paladin against a Hunter. I don't think the Hunter likes this position very much.
I think you're just feeling so good. Oh! Well, we saw that last week already, but now look at this. That freezing trap is even worse.
Yeah, it's even worse. Yeah, it was bad. Now it's just terrible. You can't even play it because you risk giving him another heal bot. That is not an option.
Yeah, that's nothing you want to do. Like when you think about the heal bot for 7 points of mana, because that will be the cost after playing the freezing trap. It's still basically a lay on hands before the draw.
Yeah, exactly. And now Sjow can't feel happy about that specific lay on hands here that came out.
Yeah, and even MasSan is starting the beat down. Yeah, I really like that line of play.
Yeah,
MasSan here.
Antique heal bot being the antique beat bot. Oh goodness, this little 3/3. When we can afford attacking with your antique heal bot to the face. As a player against a Hunter, you're in a fine spot.
I think you just play King Crush and go face.
Yeah, because you do whittle away 12 health from him right now.
And you saw one Peacekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
One equality.
Yeah. You sent one back to his hand though, at least with a freezing trap, so he's got another one on the back end.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he's got effectively, like right now MasSan is sitting on 2 Peacekeepers, so the peace will be kept. But for a little while,
you kind of limit yourself to not play the you kind of limit yourself with the King Crush being played only in a situation when you actually will win this game, win the game, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that's something you can really afford right now. You want to push for that damage and force the opponent to play more defensively than maybe he'd like. Oh, that's going to be an insane board wipe from MasSan, taking away every minion the Sjow has on the board.
That's very true.
And now the curve from Sjow is non-existent.
7 points of damage per turn from Paladin. The weapon is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, because
So
it belongs
there's a
in a
Harrison Jones.
museum.
Yeah. And there will be no value from the freezing trap. Well, actually, you can pop it and then draw 2 cards from the Harrison Jones. So I think that's very legit.
I think MasSan's gonna be happy even to pop it and deny the entirety of its value.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is crazy. Sjow is getting hard count. Every play he's made so far has found a hard counter. Or at least in some, like he if you disregard the lay on hands and the anti-heal bot, MasSan's health would currently be at 4. So he would be a little lower on health than he'd feel comfortable. And Sjow might have even sealed the game earlier, but those 2 cards healing him up so much are gonna mean a lot.
But let's be honest here. I think that turn 5 was crucial, and I think just not playing the freezing trap costed Sjow the game most likely.
Yeah, I mean, it might have not even won, but it would have at least given him a better chance of winning, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, the R&B cowl on point.
Oh, cool.
This high main is not going to speak for very
Do
long.
you even want to... I would just sacrifice the Harrison Jones and play the Tyrion.
Yeah, I think this is a better play because you're guaranteed to be safe, and you're not even playing into Unleash shenanigans, which anyway, I guess, don't matter much. Because you're going to win next turn.
Lethal next turn, right?
Yeah.
But action doesn't matter.
He would have had it with Tyrion anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you're forced to use your bow on turn 10 as a hunter, as the defensive play, I don't think you feel too good about this. King Crush is going to crush Harrison Jones, I guess.
Oh,
wow.
Crap, that was a huge King Crush.
Oh god, there was like a massive zoom here from our perspective. I don't know if you guys saw it on the stream, but that was pretty massive. Might have just been a frame skip, which caused a massive King Crush. So there's going to be a lethal with Consecration for Sjow, who got completely dominated this game. Completely dominated.
MasSan has to feel good here. Like, that was not a good matchup at all, I think. And, well, Sjow didn't draw any Unleash the Hounds.
That would have helped.
Kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
That would help. That would definitely help. But still, I think Sjow had enough room to, maneuver in this game to somehow push it in his favor. But still, MasSan found his way every single time to counter his moves. So
yeah, the Sludge Belcher and then the Sludge Belcher had to be Hunter's Mark and killed with a 1-attack Huffer. So that's not the way you want to use your Hunter's Mark necessarily. I mean, a Sludge Belcher is kind of a fun target if you're sacrificing a Hound or a Knife Juggler, like a knife. But if you're using a minion, it's...
Yeah, but that's the case when the Belcher is at full health, right?
Exactly,
and
2 health.
In this situation, he basically used the Hunter's Mark
as a Moonfire.
Yeah, that was a Moonfire. Actually, that was a Moonfire.
Yeah, it was exactly that. 1 damage, 0 mana, and that's all it really did. But Sjow was forced in that position because he decided to play 2 minions, which... I mean, I guess he could have silenced his own Huffer if he wanted, but he couldn't have killed the... to gain back the attack, but he couldn't have killed the Sludge Belcher without losing it anyway.
That's a sweet play, but I don't think that was the turn for that.
No, not at all.
He still had the Owl, like, later in the game, so if he would go for the Freezing Trap, and then on the turn 7, after he played the Savannah, he could have silenced the Huffer to get more damage.
Yep.
That would be possible, but not when he just lost the tempo, the Hunter's Mark. That's also the same idea behind this card. Like, Hunter's Mark and Freezing Trap both have the same reason to be played in that deck. They are massive, huge tempo swings.
Yeah, so we have information that MasSan has won with Pally, so it's gonna be locked out. He's gonna be moving on with his Hunter. So Sjow's Hunter is not eliminated, even though he lost with it. This is Conquest format, so we can go back to it at a later time. So Sjow is going to be playing his Mage versus MasSan's Hunter, and I ventured to say this is anyone's game.
Definitely. Well, Conquest is a very curious format. When even if someone is 2-0, he can still make a comeback with his whole setup against one specific archetype of your opponent deck. So you can't really say anything about the match like before game 5 actually. there will be a game 5, of course.
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel like in Mech Mage versus and it is Mech Mage. In Mech Mage versus Hunter, I would venture to say that usually Hunter has a better snowball ability, unless a Mech Warper falls down. So this is probably one of your most important cards as a mage if you're facing off against them.
Oh, well, the Annoyatron has a huge value in this matchup. Like, it will soak so many damage. So I think I agree with you here. The Mech Mage can have a potential value, can have a bigger potential value in his cards than the Hunter.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the one thing. The mage needs to make sure that his early game is solid, so that he can be the aggressor against the hunter. You know, if Snake Trap comes down, you can handle it with your Blast Mage, most likely, if you've got it set up properly and you know what you're doing. You have a mech on the board. Blast Mage is such a powerful card that you can just negate the Snake Trap entirely with it.
But do you even keep the Snake Trap? I don't think so.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can keep it here in MasSan. Well,
it's definitely better to have it on turn 2 and pop it on turn 3 than having it draw it in like turn 6, and then there are more chances. Oh, God.
Wow, Sjow. This is the first time I have ever seen such a terrible Mech Mage hand. I have never seen a worse Mech Mage hand in my life.
Did you watch my game against Live Coach in
No.
Charity Final? I had 2 Mad Scientists and Counterspell, 2 Mirror Entity back to back draw.
Okay, well I have, okay, well then at least, this is even worse actually, it keeps getting worse for Sjow.
Yeah, this is really bad.
Oh my goodness.
Now Sjow has to adjust.
Oh, what?
Sjow has to adjust his game plan here. Like, do you play Mirror Entity this turn? I think you have to. Like, there will be no time to play the Mirror Entity on turn 5.
Yeah, you've got no time for games, so MasSan must be confused, because if there's no minion coming down on turn 3 from a Mech Mage, there's something awfully wrong with their hand.
Yeah,
and
so now on turn 4 you will play the second Mad Scientist in pink, or just the Mad Scientist you just, played back to back. So
I like the 4 mana ones to get it out of the way, because anyway pinging doesn't seem to achieve too much in this position.
It doesn't change anything right now. Oh, there's the Juggler, which is really fortunate for MasSan here, just because of the Mirror Entity. He had almost no other target for that.
Yeah, and the worst part is that because the little 1/1s will spawn, he can just counter it, with a good knife to the Juggler, and there it goes.
There it goes. That was very lucky for MasSan here.
No juggling for a little bit here. So the thing is, the position that Sjow's in forces him to play off-curve constantly. Like, he can trade his Mad Scientist away, but he'll give information to MasSan that his hand contains another Mirror Entity. And, like, what exactly is going to be... Like, what can you even do in this position as Sjow? Like, you have to Frostbolt, you have to ping, do you just Cogmaster? Like, this is so awful.
You have to play the Mirror Entity,
Just to hope for no snowball?
Like, you saw that MasSan played the card that was drawn this turn, so you have to guess that he had no other option to play against the Mirror Entity, right? So you played the same strategy you played it on turn 3, just to get a best minion for yourself from the Mirror Entity.
Yeah.
And I agree with Sjow here.
So MasSan knew that it was Mirror Entity, played Animal Companion to get a board, but like the next few turns might be very important because Dr. Boom is coming down. And the two freezing traps for MasSan have been exhausted. So this is a turn where MasSan's going to be starting to go for the, a huge amount of damage possibly.
What Sjow has to draw here is a Goblin Blast Mage. But he has no mechs, so... oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I think... I'm actually surprised...
Oh, there's the Goblin Blast Mage.
I'm really surprised that MasSan's passive play here, not to play the... Like, he doesn't want to play into Mirror Entity at all, but that's going to force him back. He's on the back foot as a result of that. Like... I don't know.
He was on the back foot anyway.
That Mirror Entity being so clutch. Imagine Sjow's position right now if those... Oh, wow.
He's going for the face. I really like this.
Yeah, there's actually
no reason to hold off.
Yeah, and Sjow might be thinking to himself, well, I'm probably dead to kill command next turn.
Well, he has to play the Goblin Blast Mage right now.
Yeah, I think you attack Leok with Dr. Well, do you even? I don't even know. I was gonna say attack Leok with Dr. Boom.
I don't think so. Like you minimize the chances of hitting that, but you also want to start the race. So I'm not exactly sure if you. I would rather see the Goblin Blast Mage being played first.
Yeah. So the Hound goes down, no overkill on it, so that's not too bad. And if we calculate here, if there's no hunters, I mean kill command coming up,
you know if Sjow would deal that 7 points of damage this turn,
he might be winning
actually,
next turn.
Yeah, and now he limited himself to not win next turn.
So he gave his opponent a web spinner. That's not what you want to get if you're Sjow. That web spinner coming off the top was fortunate. That allowed him to play anything he wanted without giving his opponent potential more damage or protection with Sludge Belcher.
So now you have to find a way to clear the board, secure your board position, and deal as much damage possible as you can basically deal. Like,
and I think what I'd like to see here is an Archmage ping play. Oddly enough, just because it lets you, or even Archmage, Bloodfin Raptor now that it came out, just to set up the Fireball lethal next turn. This is such a strong play. It's the winning play, in fact, and there is no beast right now in MasSan's hand in case Kill Command is drawn, since he's played his Hunter's Mark already. So
and
he can't get
played
lethal.
one on Unleash the Hounds.
Exactly. So the odds of that
Sjow
happening.
is just thinking about the Bloodfin Raptor because of the second Unleash the Hounds, and like I bet that Sjow was counting the cards in MasSan hand, like which didn't leave his hand from like which turn. So he basically knows that the 2 or 3 cards from the left weren't played from like turn 5 or 4 even.
Yep. So now MasSan probably wants to ping face here with his hero power, but if he does so, he can't saturate his mana. Because by doing so, you can Malorn Kill Command next turn by default and win. Since it is 7 mana, you'll be on 10, but that means you don't get to play 2 minions if you weave it in.
Well, you can play. Well, no, you can't play Malorn. You're dead.
Oh yeah, let's just put that 7 drop down on the board and see how it does against Dr. 7.
Dr. Balanced. Well, when you play Sludge Belcher, that eats the 1 attack from Antonidas, then the small slime is being eaten by Bloodfin Raptor, and you're dead to
another
2
fireball and 7, 5, 4.
Basically, you're dead to whatever you do.
Yeah, no matter what happens here, MasSan's going down.
Yeah.
If there's a spell in Sjow's hand, which there is, MasSan's going down.
Yep. Like, there's no difference what you could have done. But yeah, of course, that there have to be like 1 fireball or frostbolt already in Sjow hand, and he had no spare parts this game.
Exactly. So MasSan must have been thinking, well, maybe he's just got those, that mad scientist I sent back and some other dead cards that he couldn't afford to play. And so much for awkward and terrible starting hands, he's still going to take that win off of MasSan's Hunter. I'm actually really surprised by the outcome of this game. I have to be honest.
Well, MasSan did play that turn 5 or 6 really passively.
Oh, when he didn't play the Pilot Shredder into the Mirror Entity and instead waited for Web Spinner?
That was turn 6, I think. And that was the turn when he actually negated his next turn.
Yep, he did.
Like, if he would play the Piloted Shredder, then it would be contested by playing his own Belcher.
Yep, which he would have been able to trade off like immediately, no problem.
Yeah. So I think MasSan just played too defensively this game. Like, it was a mixed strategy because he went face with everything when he had Leok, right?
Yep, he did. He went full face. No trades at all. So I think it was a fine. If it was a fine line of play, though, going face here, it was.
But then he played it differently on the next turn. On the turn before. Like, if you play so aggressively, why would you not play a minion on turn 6?
Yeah.
Right.
I think, yeah, I think I know where you're getting to with this is if he wanted to go aggression, why didn't he figure it out earlier? So maybe he just thought about going full phase a bit too late. If he'd gone for that specific strategy one turn earlier, it might have gotten him the damage he needed to seal the game.
Exactly. Like, he was thinking about playing around Mirror Entity on turn 6, and then, well, I'm not exactly sure if he did draw into that Animal Companion turn 7. I can't remember it.
I remember him playing 2 of them. The first one was to prevent the Mirror Entity, then he got another one afterwards that he could play. And I think he did, and he got Leok.
Maybe it was just an ad hoc, play.
Yeah. Alright, so we are getting word here. The Sjow is going to go with his Hunter again, which lost the first match to the Paladin. So it's not been eliminated. He can't go for his Mech Mage again, obviously, since it sealed the game versus MasSan. And MasSan is going to go for his Druid. So Hunter versus Druid, and especially we know that this is mid-range Hunter from having seen it from Sjow's perspective. This is not a matchup I'm exactly happy to run into as a Druid, but do you have any thoughts on that matchup, personally?
Yeah, well, Druid can be one of the classes that can just win against Hunter because of Innervate. And,
oh god,
when you think about Innervate Keeper turn 1, it's just so powerful that it can win almost against anything.
Yeah.
Like if it's an aggressive, of course, an aggressive deck. So, but this is the mid-range Hunter, so we can't really predict the game like until turn 5 or 6 at least.
Yeah, until the board has been stabilized a lot. So I just know that I don't like to play Druid into it if I don't get my early ramp, which MasSan does have his Innervate right now in hand, which is a guaranteed keep. There's literally zero reason not to keep the Innervate against a Hunter as Druid. I can't, or against anything for that matter.
Well, I think he has to keep Shade, Wrap, and Innervate in this matchup.
Yeah,
like,
you want swipe is debatable, but yeah.
Yeah, but you want to have the Wrap for the Knife Juggler that can be dropped on turn 2.
Yep, you want to make sure that you're able to remove that 3/2 for nearly no investment. Like you don't want to start attacking it with your face and Wrath, because that's more damage you're taking for no reason.
Especially when when Sjow knows that there will be a Snake Trap.
Yeah, so swipe. No, knowing that, does MasSan keep swipe? Oh, he threw back Wrath, or is that a visual glitch? No, he did throw back the Wrath and got himself a Blood Mage Thalnos again.
Blood Mage Thalnos, that's interesting. That's a really old... Oh, okay.
Oh, everything makes sense now.
Yeah, now it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so I think Sjow's, most important draw here is Hunter's Mark. We're at that point already.
Or an Owl, because an Owl deals 5 points of damage to that Mansion of War.
Whoa.
So he goes... I'm really curious, why didn't he play the Haunted Creeper, right?
Yeah, I thought it made too much sense not to do, but... I mean, you can get yourself the Juggler to pop with it, but then again, I guess you're not expecting minions from your opponent.
But then you have an Animal Companion which will most likely die next turn, and then you have no target for the Handmaster. Well, okay, now we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how this is going to develop, but right now, based on what we're looking at on the board, this is a pretty strong position for MasSan. He's got his Blood Mage for... it's going to cycle. He can Innervate Ancient of War on the following turn. His Shade will be big enough to, theoretically, take this Leok, but Houndmaster is going to come in and put a stop to that. And the fact that he has to actually use 4 damage to the face means he's going to be overextending somewhat into a swipe, possibly.
Well, you can't really play around that.
No, you can't.
The warrior has almost no way to deal 1 point of damage easily apart from Stuntas Boar and Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah.
Or on Juggle, of course.
Well, you know what? This Hunter's Mark came right on time. This is probably the only draw that Sjow really wanted to see before this whole thing escalated out of control.
Yeah. So now he has to get a lucky shot with that.
Yeah, let's see where it goes. And he kills Blood Mage. You know, that's not terrible. At least you're getting rid of that spell damage without over-investing too much. And he's trading...
that's very cool, because now he knows that there was no swipe last turn. So he's not... he's playing it to swipe, but that had to be top-decked.
And I have to say, with the Savannah curving out next turn, I have to say that Sjow is in a commanding position. MasSan had a nice hand until that Hunter's Mark showed up in Sjow's hand.
Oh, definitely. That the Hunter's Mark was 2 for 1, basically.
It was crazy, and now next turn, Sjow can weave in a Loatheb hero power to negate any chance of a spell-based comeback.
Even with 2 Ancient of Lores and MasSan hand, so he would basically heal 10 points of damage. That's still not enough.
Oh, what?
Oh, well, that's kind of cool, but that's still not enough to, squeeze board control and heal yourself at the same time. You will get more points of damage this way.
Yeah, but you do negate the Savannah Highmane to the face and kill the 1/1s.
Yeah, that's very lucky, of
it's
course.
6 damage. Like, he's overkilling it by 3 and losing his minions. And now he's going to be able to be... I don't know. That Loatheb will at least seal the board in a state
I would rather drop the Piloted Shredder, Web Spinner, and Hero Power than just Loatheb. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean. That way you can guarantee that you get even... Like, all your minions are played, and you can Loatheb with all those guys on the board to press for even more.
Loatheb has an immediate effect on the board, and it makes much more sense to use it when you want to guarantee yourself a lethal next turn. At least in my opinion.
So why? So there's a Harrison Jones in this druid, and MasSan did choose to go for that specific druid. So knowing that Sjow's lineup contained a druid and a hunter, why go for your own druid if you're MasSan as opposed to going for your hunter? Because I mean, if you're playing your own hunter as MasSan, either you're flipping against another hunter or druid, in which case you have a slight edge.
Well, he had a 50% chances, right? It's 1-1, so there's still 2 decks from Sjow to choose from.
Yeah, but I think the odds would have been better if you'd gone with the other deck. But then again, those matchups can go either way depending on how the draws line up. And based on what we're seeing here, the health total of Sjow is getting dramatic. I mean, of MasSan is getting dramatically low. And I can't think of anything that would help him out. That Loatheb keep was pretty interesting, because even if there were a swipe right now in MasSan's hand, it couldn't accomplish nearly as much as it wants to.
Well,
that's even Doomsayer. That's Doomsayer time.
And MasSan is like, okay, I have to count damage here. Okay, I'm dead.
Okay, so I think what you do here is you use your own hero power to attack into Loatheb. Oh, you can't even use the Keeper of the Grove on yourself. You can't even choose that. You can't even do it. It's impossible. Escape Conceit is a pretty good play, though.
I think you can.
He's not able to kill himself. Yeah, but he won't even die. But why bother? If you can't commit Sudoku, I mean, there's no point. Yeah. There's no
point. This matchup was really weird. Here.
Yeah, very weird. I'm still confused as to why he threw away the Wrath earlier, and I mean the swipe is a debatable throw. You can argue over the swipe being thrown away, especially when you've got Innervate and you want to maybe not Innervate Shade and you want to Innervate something out later. That's a minion that's going to give you board presence. But I feel like the Wrath was a pretty much auto keep. He got it in the end to deal with the Juggler with Blood Mage Thalnos.
Yeah, we were talking about the Wrath being used on Knife Jugglers before the game started, and then he threw the Wrath away, and the Knife Juggler landed on turn 2, and he had actually nothing to do against him. So
yeah, he had to play the Shade into it. I mean, he played the Shade, and the Knife Juggler came out. Knife Juggler came out, Shade came out, and then Animal Companion was played, and then that means the Hunter gets initiative right away. You're giving the Hunter initiative, and the only way that they do get that massive lead against Druid is when they get that early game. So Sjow is going to be forced to be moving on to his last remaining deck, which is Druid, and MasSan is going to stick with his Druid, but we know that MasSan's Druid, as far as we've seen, is a bit on the defensive, and I think that the Ancient of War gave it away.
Oh, yeah, kinda gave it away, that's very true, but we know also that MasSan holds a dead card in this matchup, which is Harrison Jones, and this can mean a lot, because when you think about Druid decks, they almost every single Druid lacks card draw, and a single card can mean game here, just because you will trade 1-for-1 with the other Druid player.
Yeah.
So the Harrison Jones will definitely be a liability here in this matchup, and now MasSan has just to pray not to draw it at all in this matchup, or at least get it in the opening hand and then mulligan it away, because you can't get the same card in your mulligan afterwards.
Yeah, and hopefully for him, Sjow is also taking his druid in a way that contains maybe a Kazan Mystic, or some useless minions that might also lower the value of Sjow's deck against MasSan's druid. So maybe it'll even out if Kazan Mystic is in Sjow's deck, which when you're facing hunters and mages, that's not unreasonable.
Definitely. And what MasSan also he started to use that Ancient of Wars in a metagame where the Black Knight was in in a spot when he was actually dropped from almost every single deck.
Yep. It did actually. It was really popular for a bit, and then it just got phased out completely. So
oh look, there's the
here,
Harrison Johns in the opening hand.
and it's thrown away faster than light. Actually, he didn't even think a split second here. Everything was thrown back.
Yeah, but what are the other cards? Like Grab, you don't keep Grab.
In this matchup, I don't think it's very useful unless your opponent makes the mistake of unstealthing the shade.
No, I meant that you throw away the Wrap every single time, but I didn't catch the other cards. So
I saw a Druid of the Claw and something else, but there is no Innervate right now in MasSan's hand, and there is one in Sjow's hand. So I'm gonna have to say that shade has to be at least coined out if nothing else comes out.
Zombie Sjow being drawn by MasSan here. Well, Shade of Nextremus is one of the most important cards in the Druid versus Druid matchup, just because it can spiral out of control so easily.
Yeah, so Sjow has to decide whether he wants to innervate out the Drake or Wild Growth to get the Drake out naturally and then curve into Sylvanas, but
I think you go with the Drake.
Yeah, because the Wild Growth, as good as it might be, lets your opponent play minions as opposed to using spells to remove the Drake. So he has good for MasSan to have the Zombie Chow here, being able to curve with that hero power. That's gonna be really helpful for him, because without the Zombie Chow, he was left with one unused mana that wouldn't give him any board presence.
Oh wow, he's trading for the Drake.
Yeah, that's what I expected from him, but
really,
yeah,
I wasn't thinking about that. Seriously, why would you kill that Drake right now when there's no difference in Wrap being 4 or 2 points of damage, and Swipe wouldn't kill the Shadow Nextremus also?
I guess because you're getting the initiative back on the following turn, logically, if he kills your Zombie Chow. Because on 4 mana, unless Druids innervate out something, I guess he could have... Yeah, he would have been able to deal with anything that came out of...
If his plan was to play the Sylvanas anyway, why would you trade?
No, that wasn't the Sylvanas, that was... You're confusing the players at the moment.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you're flipping them over. So, the Sylvanas is at least going to get value out of that Shredder. And since she was played...
After,
she would have gone that 2-3 anyway, but this gives the initiative to Sjow in a pretty meaningful way, actually. At this point, there has to be something innervated out. I mean, if you just look at MasSan's hand,
you can't play the innervate right now.
Yeah, you'd love to, but you can't now, and there's nothing that can be played. Yeah, you can't play BGH as a body out of you're in a necessity, and doing so puts you so far behind in the next few turns. You have to hope your opponent just whiffs on everything he wants to do, and that's not the case at all.
You're dead to combo into 9.
Yeah. Oh wow, that draw here. Wait. He's going to Savage Roar with the 4-forward charge, or just go face and set up the lethal?
Go face with everything, I think.
Okay,
or trades the 2-3 into Begin Hunting.
And just floods the board with that.
Yeah, that's enough. Against other druids, what can you do against 3 minions with every single one having more than 2 points of HP?
So I know you swipe, innervate, swipe, innervate. No, there's no healing that you can get. Like a double Voodoo Doctor, and then you're safe. There is no way. Okay, never mind that. That is not happening. So this is going to be a game here that Force of Nature Savage are going to roll over the Ancient of War, who's just going to get taken off guard, I think, here. And that's going to be a perfect game for Sjow. At 30
I have
health.
to pay more attention when 2 players are bringing druid. It's so easy to mix them now, right?
They run the same deck, so you don't necessarily keep track of the cards that they're playing. But this is going to be game, actually even match for Sjow.